Awesome. So Jessica has been facilitating retreats for quite a while. She loves to do women's retreats. And so share with us a little bit about some of your experiences you've had in facilitating retreats for women that assist and support them.
Yeah, so I think retreats, it's so interesting. There's something really magic that happens when you take a group of people out of their regular day-to-day world and put them together, and the synergy and just the like kind of just magic that happens is really extraordinary. And sometimes it doesn't have anything to do, like contents of retreats are amazing. Um, and we've done some really cool stuff with mindset, and we did some labyrinth work, going to hot springs. Like there's all different things you can do on retreats, which are awesome, and content's amazing. But that synergy that can happen, and that melding together and getting to see things in a different way, and a reset, like this massive reset that can happen, can change people's lives. So, and people can go away and just have a whole new perspective of where they're at in life, or make shifts that happen for themselves. And it's really powerful. It's really, I have had some backgrounds in my previous lives and careers this lifetime, maybe past lives too, but in this lifetime, I've done a lot of event planning and different things like that. And so I've utilized some of those different skills, and I'm pretty good at keeping a group, managing and running and seeing what needs to be done, and making sure everybody gets fed and everything. So,
You know,
so
Jessica's right. I've been doing retreats for years, and there's something about when we unplug from our regular routine because most of the time we have a schedule. We have a routine in the morning, we have a routine in the evening, we have a routine throughout the week, and we're moving through those energies. But to take the time to unplug from that routine and the people that we're connected with most of the time, and to go to someplace else where there are going to be people that we may not have connected with and some that maybe we have, and to have a few days to just kind of focus on yourself, just to kind of be with you and be present within yourself is so powerful. And we've talked about this because Jessica's going to be a facilitator at my retreat this year. We have three of us that are doing a lot of the facilitating. And we also have our guest facilitator, Christina, is going to join us. But Jessica, Leslie, and I are the main facilitators at the retreat. And we've been planning this for several months on what we want to bring together and what that retreat is going to be about. But Jessica and I were talking recently about really right now and what's happening in the world today. And this is 2025, March, right? And our retreat's in September. But there's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of people that are angry and disappointed and frustrated, and there's just a lot of this energy going on right now. There's a lot of fear in what tomorrow is going to bring, and the anxiety that's building up, that we really believe that people need some hope. They need to be able to come together and have a new perspective and really kind of see the world a little differently, and come together and know that they're okay and it's a safe environment. And that's really what we want to provide at our retreat in September, which is a weekend retreat in the mountains. And I always go to Woodland Park in the mountains for my retreat. This will be my fourth or fifth retreat that I've held up there. So I kind of know, I know the lay of the land, as you could say. And I've watched women come up and really leave lightened and more inspired and really reset. And Jessica's right. We've done different things on retreats. We've had different themes. We've had different facilitators, we've had different topics, and it really doesn't matter what it is. It's that synergy of unplugging and coming together that really makes retreats the magic that they are, and the reason that people really crave to have something that is just theirs in the year to kind of reset their energy. And so Jessica is going to be facilitating us through lots of several things with the labyrinth because she's passionate about labyrinths. And share with us a little bit, what is a labyrinth? What
Sure.
how is the energy of the labyrinth helpful for us?
Sure. I'm gonna riff a little bit on what you were saying because I love it all so much. So I think just another like kind of plug into that is that there's an isolation that sometimes feels like right now can feel like you said that the energy of the world's really crazy right now. And there's a little bit of an isolation feel like there's this kind of like I'm scared or I want to hide or whatever. And that opportunity to have a safe space to connect and be and community and connection, I think is just something we're craving and something we need. If we go back in time a little bit to that, we all kind of have that weird, funny memory in our mind of what happened during pandemic and that other time in our recent history in which we felt really isolated and it was really pretty mind shifting for people. I'm not sure if any of us have really processed that yet. So I think we all just forgot about it. But there's a sense, I mean, it's totally, things are just a lot really chaotic feeling right now. And that sense of community and a place to connect, super important. But to answer your question about labyrinths. So labyrinths are, and I actually can I have a show and tell for those that are watching this on the, if you're watching it on video, here's a show and tell. So here is a wooden handheld labyrinth that I do actually use sometimes for readings as well. But a labyrinth is a pattern, and it's often used. There's walking labyrinths and there's handheld labyrinths, and the history of labyrinths goes back to, we see them on cave paintings, we see them in Greek palaces and Roman palaces, and it's a path, and it's different than a maze. A maze has dead ends and is meant to confuse us, and a labyrinth is one path in and then the same path out. Sometimes there's a secondary path. But the use of that or the metaphor of that in our life can be super powerful. So we all have situations that we're navigating through. That the path of the labyrinth it's circuitous a little bit, it turns it on itself, and so there's often feelings in which we're at a dead end and then we twist and turn and we keep going forward. Like, that's the choice, we're gonna go forward. That is where life is going. Even if you go backwards, you still have the knowledge of where you are now, so you're still going forward, right? So our knowledge, that is what happens in life, right? So the use of the labyrinth as a tool and a metaphor for healing is you can walk the labyrinth in a very, very specific way in which you're using it for meditation, or you're using it for guidance. You can draw in trace the labyrinth, the handheld labyrinth, in that same way that you can, when you're going in, walking in or tracing in, looking or seeking answers, seeking questions. When you're in the center, it's a very grounding space in which you often will have answers come to you in an intuitive way. And then when you're walking out, you can reflect or tracing out. You can also just play the ones you walk in and the ones when you're tracing. You can also, it has a very playful quality as well. So even I have some paper labyrinths to draw on, which has another way of connecting to our intuition and to our way of growing. my personal relationship with the labyrinth, and I write about it in my book. One of my book, actually, all my books, I think, have some kind of labyrinthly, or all the things I've written and published have a labyrinth aspect to it. But my mom and my aunt built a labyrinth and several labyrinths, but the one that still exists is in the backyard of my dad's house. And when my mom had 13-year journey with Alzheimer's, and I used the labyrinth as a healing space for myself when I was navigating, supporting her journey, and then write about it in my book as a metaphor for the journeys we go on in life.
Well, there have been scientific studies that say when we have a high level of anxiety, when we have a high level of this angst or anxiety or overwhelm, if you can be creative, you actually get out of that side of your mind that feels anxious and overwhelmed, and it allows you to surrender and really be. And when you're able to do that, that meditative state, you're able then to connect into your inner wisdom, your inner self, and get guidance. So, a lot of people that come and say, "Oh, Violet, I can't meditate." A finger labyrinth or walking the labyrinth or walking in nature can allow you to let go of the control that you're holding on to so tightly that you can get into a relaxed, meditative state. So it's calming, it's relaxing. It also is very intuitive because then you're getting messages or guidance, or you feel that support. So then it's very healing on a lot of levels. And so it brings in a lot of different ways to really connect differently, to slow down and really be in that present moment, to be able to hear. Because the reality is, the reason we don't connect as much to our intuition is because it's very noisy and we're very distracted and we're constantly running and doing this pace all the time to get everything done. And if you just slow down and be present and grounded and, close your mind a little bit of that chatter and just be in the moment, which the labyrinth allows us to do, then we can really connect to who we are and get an understanding of where we should be and where we're going. So, incorporating this into the retreats is going to really allow people to kind of slow down, connect to the labyrinth, gain a tool that they can use afterwards. So when their world gets very chaotic, they can say, "Oh, I'm just going to slow down for 10 minutes and just allow my body to relax a little bit, allow myself to relax and surrender, connect into who I am, so that I can just remind myself, what am I doing all this for? And what am I trying to achieve?" And so I believe the labyrinths can really do that and give us those opportunities to kind of connect in a different way.
Yeah, and I love what you said about how we have a lot of we create boundaries in our brains about, like, oh, we can't, I don't know how to meditate, or I can't meditate. You can meditate, you can stop. It can be 30 seconds when you're washing your dishes, washing your cup, from when you're making your coffee. You can set an intention with your cup of coffee in the morning, and that breaks the cycle of the crazy, our mind racing.
It really
So,
does, and we don't do enough of that, right? So
yeah.
imagine on your physical body what you're doing to it when you're constantly like this all the time and you're constantly going. And I can say that about me because I constantly have a zillion list of to-dos. Even today, I got to get this and I got to get this and I got to get this. And our guides on the other side are like, "Hello, do you not understand? You need to breathe. You need to take a few minutes, 60 seconds, 30 seconds. You just need to have that throughout the day." And the retreat is a 2.5 day pause, right? Where you get to release out of your day to day to really step into a space that's going to allow you to get your messages, to allow you to understand what you should be focused on, allow you to connect with like minded beings, to be in this sacred, nurturing, healing space to help you kind of realign before you go back out there. And September's a great time to do a retreat because September is all about reflection. In the mystery school, September for us is about pausing and reflecting because you've just come out of summer play and you had all these exciting things that happened all summer. And now it's time to refocus as you go into fall, as you're harvesting stuff, and as right before you go into hibernation. What is it that you've accomplished? What have you done? What has been good? What do you need to change? September is a great month to do all that in. And it's right after school starts and kids have started back and life starts to slow down just a little bit again. It's a great time to go to a retreat and say, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to kind of slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And I think the other awesome thing about the plans that we have for our retreat is there's a lot of different, we present and we're presenting a lot of different ways to find that connection. So if one thing doesn't work for you, there's going to be something else that will connect in. The other thing, and we didn't talk about this yet, Violet, is that the other fun thing about the retreats is things that happen on the side that's just fun and playful and laughing. It's like getting to hang out with like summer camp with your girlfriends as a kid, right? And like the magic that happens in the in between can be super just it's like nothing else. It's hard to imagine another space that you can actually make it happen so beautifully than at retreats.
Yeah, we've set up our retreats because Violet is not a morning person. I am not the 7 a.m.er. It's just not, that's not who I am. I like kind of starting to move around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And at our retreat center, breakfast is served like at 8 o'clock. And we have people that come that are that 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And so we've got things happening from early in the morning all the way up into the evenings. And you get to select. You don't have to be at everything. You get to have choices on where you want to plug into and where do you want to plug out of. No criticism, no judgment. We've created a variety of things. We also think about, so my daughter's not crafty. She doesn't like to craft things. And other people love having that creative play of crafting. And so we always give permission. If you want to participate, we would love to have you. If you don't want to participate, that's okay too. But we're going to be making a mala to support the energies of the weekend. And so we're going to get to learn how to create a mala. And it's a beautiful gift that you get to take home with you after the retreat. So we're very excited that we have a lot of mixture of things, some things out in nature, which Jessica will be doing with the labyrinth because there is a labyrinth up in the mountains. And so being able to walk in nature, being able to check things out, and also some things inside where you can have some downtime to read or, just to sit outside and watch because it's not unusual for deer and stuff to walk through where we're at. So being connected to that nature is awesome.
I think it's yet another thing I can just riff off you, my friend. Um, the nature, that's another space in which we get really disconnected from, right? Like nature is, and I've been spending a lot of time driving up to see my dad in Salida, and which I love because I get to go hang out at the labyrinth. um, but I find myself sometimes like not listening to a podcast, not listening to music, and just driving in silence because it's so beautiful. The visual, like it's such, I mean, there's, traffic too, but and it's such a wonderful way to just connect with the surrounding. And we live in, I mean, not everybody listening to this may live in Colorado, but we get so disconnected from the nature that's around us. And, right now we're recording in spring, like it's so cool. Like the little flowers are popping up their little heads and you can start to see that little just start of new growth. And it's a wonderful thing to stop and realize what's happening around us in nature.
I love that. I love that. Well, Jessica, share. I know we've shared a little bit of some of the things you offer because I know you offer healing sessions and readings and your belly dance. How can people find out more information about you and your offerings?
Yeah, so I am on the Discover Your Spiritual Gifts website. So that's a really great way for me to connect at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. My website is jessicastokesauthor.com. You can also connect with me there. And I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. My books are available on Amazon. You can also just connect directly with me on either of those locations, and I'd be happy to get you a signed copy. I actually, just because I don't have enough awesome projects, I am starting to write a second book about what happens. So my first book is about mom and Alzheimer's and our 13-year journey of my family's navigating through it. But what happens after? So my dad, he lost his partner of 50 plus years, and he kind of had to restart, like how he was going to navigate the rest of his life and restart kind of without that, his best friend, and how, as his daughter, how I can best support him, which I think translates to lots of folks with aging, with people are aging. Everybody's doing it. We can't escape that aging thing. And but how do we support those that we love in integrity and what they want as they go into that stage of their life? I think it's a really important piece of it. Often as children or daughters or even our loved ones with our partners, we don't talk enough about what they want for their journey. And with my mom, she lost her ability to speak, and she had given us some things and we tried to honor what we knew, but she chose to be very quiet in her journey. And how my dad, who actually was just diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but he is very vocal of his needs and wants, which is great. But then there's some responsibility as us as a family to ensure that we make those needs, which might mean changes around the house or adding railings in places that there weren't railings and things like that. So there's a second book coming, and then I have a couple chapters in some chapter books as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jessica, for taking the time to chat with us today. You and I could talk forever.